it is a privilege to have with us today Shri Abhishek Singh, Additional Secretary MeitY, who will be talking about India's transformative journey and endeavor to become a responsible AI leader on the global stage. May I request, sir, who's already joined us now, to please come and share his thoughts. Please go ahead, sir. I'd like you to come and have the podium to yourself, please.
Thank you. First and foremost, I would like to compliment DNPA, the Digital News Publishing Association, for organizing this session on AI, how it impacts. And we all see, like in our daily lives, in our every day that we are doing, all of us have become a user of AI. Though AI has existed for a very, very long time, it has been around since 1956 when the term was first coined. But the real impact of AI has, in a way, come very recently, though deep learning, machine learning. If you talk to techies, they say that we have been there for a very, very long time, and there are people who have done PhDs way back in 1990s on artificial intelligence. But especially after the ChatGPT moment, if I can say, the November 2022, when it was launched, AI became commoditized in many ways. And people started experiencing it, people started using it for various purposes. We just heard about how hallucinations and wrong responses can come from AI models, even though there are students and there are people who think that whatever output comes from a ChatGPT or a Grok or a Meta AI or a Gemini is correct and truth. But we all know what kind of mistakes they can create. In fact, today's Economic Times, I read a story about some order issued by Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, in which the order quoted some High Court and Supreme Court judgments which did not exist. So sometimes these models have this ability of creating content by itself, and that's where one needs to be very, very wary of. Having said that, the potential of this technology is immense. The impact it can make for improving public services, the impact it can make for making healthcare, agriculture, educational services accessible to each one and everyone is immense. So in view of that, Government of India, in fact, thought how we can use this technology for the benefit of everyone. We are implementing the India AI mission, which not only seeks to help establish Indian companies and Indian researchers take leadership in the field of AI, but also help build applications that can empower people. India AI mission is a 10,732 crore project, which we are implementing, which includes 7 pillars on which the whole program is designed on. These 7 pillars cut across all the gaps which are there in AI ecosystem. In fact, when we were discussing what all we do, we did a lot of consultations with companies, industry, startups, and they all said that we need compute in order to ensure that we are also able to train models, we are able to also build applications. So a lot of focus is there on the compute pillar under India AI mission, and we did empanel 10 service providers to provide compute services. Today we have availability of almost 18,000 GPUs, the graphical processing units, which are essential for building AI applications, out of which 14,000 have already been installed. So one bottleneck is solved to some extent, but we will need to do much more on the compute front. The second pillar is about data sets, about how do we make data sets available for building AI applications. For that, we are in the final stages of building an India datasets platform, and the version 1 of the platform will be launched within a week to 10 days from today. So that's also almost ready for launch, that platform. The third key pillar is about application development. How do we develop applications? For that, we published a innovation challenge across 5 themes. The themes included climate change, agriculture, learning disabilities, governance, and healthcare. And we got 900 entries for that, out of which 30 applications have been selected for scaling up, for deploying across country. So there are AI applications which can assist farmers. There are AI applications which can help diagnose tuberculosis. There are AI applications which can help children with learning disabilities build up their personalized learning plans. So these 30 applications are being shared with state governments and all Government of India departments for scaling up. The other pillar about the India AI mission is also about skilling, about how do we ensure that future skills, though we are very strong in AI skills and talent, we are rated number 1 in AI skill penetration at the Stanford AI Index, but we also know that we have to continue investing in training and skilling and education to ensure that we retain our position of eminence when it comes to AI talent. So we are providing fellowships to undergrad students, to master's students, and to PhD scholars for taking up projects in the AI field. In addition, we are building data labs across the ITIs and polytechnics, which can train the youth in tier 2, tier cities and rural areas to become data annotators, data scientists, because these are the jobs that will be created in the data economy. Then there is another fifth pillar on the India AI mission is about startup financing, because all the startups which are working in the field of AI, they need a lot of funding at the pre-seed stage, seed stage, and the maturity stage. So we have a funding provision for that. We are working with incubators and accelerators and also setting up a fund of funds to provide funding support to startups. Then another pillar is about foundation models, the AI Innovation Center, because there's a lot of expectation that after China has come as DeepSeek, when will India come up with foundation model? Because we don't have any foundation model which is trained primarily on Indian data sets and on Indian context. So toward this objective, we published a call for proposals for building India foundation models on 30th of January. And within 15 days, 15th February was the due date, we have got as many as 67 applications, which are currently been examined, currently been evaluated by the technical experts, and we do feel that if funded, one of at least a few of the foundation models, India will also be able to have very soon. And the last but not the least pillar under the India AI mission is about safe and trusted AI, because whenever we talk of AI, we also talk about responsible AI, ethical AI, safe, trustworthy AI. We just heard about how AI can create deep fakes, misinformation. So we are funding research institutions and not-for-profits in building tools for ensuring that AI algorithmic bias can be checked, machine unlearning can be done if a model has been trained on datasets which are not correct, for detecting tools for deep fakes, for privacy enhancing technologies, for watermarking AI generated content. So projects have already been taken up to build these tools, and these tools will be available for those who are building AI applications so that they can test their applications before rolling out. So India AI mission is currently moving ahead on all these 7 pillars, and hopefully we will be able to kind of create a position of strength and position of eminence for Indian AI ecosystem. Given the context of this audience, the DNPA, in fact, one issue is very important, which all of you must be already debating on. And in fact, I am aware that DNPA and ANI have filed a copyright case, which is sub judice. So the issues of copyright, the issues of IP becomes very, very relevant in the context of artificial intelligence and AI-based applications and models. Who owns that IP, whether revenue sharing happens or not happens, who is liable if somebody has trained a model based on content that is created by news publishers, and that content is used by someone, if it is beneficial and some revenue is being generated, can revenue sharing happen? If something wrong goes on, if something wrong happens, then whose liability it is there? Will the liability lie with the person who created the content originally, or will it lie with the AI model? Will it lie with the user? So these are all open issues. We have seen how the New York Times case is going on in the US. We are following this case very clearly. What is fair use? Where does infringement of copyright law comes in? Because our Copyright Act also mentions something about fair use, but when it goes beyond a point where when the content is used to create something which is verbatim copy or kind of copies the style of writing of a particular writer and author or a journalist, then we will have to think of where does one draw the line. So these are very interesting issues which are emerging, and hopefully the court will come up with some measure of balance which kind of balances the AI innovation as also protects the rights of original creators, copywriters. Same thing we are seeing in the field of music also. IMI is also grappling with it, because today AI generated content can be there. We can have AI generated content who can create a composition of Khayyam or a composition of musicians who are not even there. So how do you protect your rights? These are real topical issues that we need to grapple with. So I am sure the conference, the event that you have had today would have gone deep into that. And also with regard to harm that can be caused. Of course, the IT Act and Bharatiya Nyaya Sanghita, IPC, the new version of IPC, there are provisions which kind of try to regulate the harm that can be caused by misinformation, by deep fakes, by AI-generated content. But at the same time, when the technology evolves to such a stage when it becomes very difficult to distinguish or detect between what is real and what is not real, maybe we'll need to have a techno-legal way of regulation, or maybe some provisions which will be able to limit the harm that can be caused. So our regulatory approach so far has been to look at it from the point of view of user harm and try to see how we can harness the benefits and limit the harms that can happen. So these are some of the thoughts that I wanted to share. I am sure the deliberations today, all your experts must have shared much more ideas and thoughts, and I will be grateful if DNPA is able to share a concise report on this, which can be very, very instrumental in us coming up with our policies for regulating or developing AI regulatory guidelines. So thank you once again for having me over.